Hey everyone, I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission is CEO and founder of Success Champion Networking and author of his, how many books now? Fifth book, Fucked to Focused, Donnie Boivin. Welcome.
Hey girl, it's always a blast hanging out with you. Feels like it's been a minute since you and I hung out. I'm glad we're back in the saddle and hanging out with each other.
I know, I feel the same way. Nothing like starting a Monday morning with an F-bomb. I love it. Thanks for that.
You're very welcome.
You guys, just a side note, Donnie and I met a few years ago. I think it's been more than a few now. You know how that COVID time warp has been, but when he so graciously had me on his podcast and we moved forward as business collaborators from that point on, co-wrote 2 books together. I've got Joy Stacking with me. I've got your High Vibe business with me here. We ran a mastermind together. And then I decided to say yes to running one of your networking chapters. I'm the president of the Bethesda Badasses. And here we are talking about his newest book.
Oh, you got it in. Look at you.
Fucked to Focused. Gotta love it. Show and tell, right? I am grateful to have met you, my friend. Thanks for running by my side over these years.
Oh, dude, you've been a great, I tell everybody you got to find your Mustangs. When I mean my Mustangs is the people that are just kicking ass in life and are going big or bigger than you are. You've been one of my Mustangs for a while, girl. You've been fun to keep up with. I love how big you're going and the impact you're having. It's just fun to chase and keep up. And, I feel like we're kind of almost in that Kentucky Derby horse race where one minute I look over and she's like, here, I'm like, shit. And the next minute I'm catching up. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a good deal to have people like that running next to you and also like not telling you to slow down. I've actually had people in my life go, why don't you just take a rest, Laura? Like you do too much. I'm like, nah.
Those aren't our people. Aren't our people.
They are not. Listen, I remember back when we met, you talked about a bigger vision and you said, I think I'm quoting, you need a vision big enough that other people want to help you make it come true. And I was like, yeah, what is that bigger vision for Brave Healer Productions? I was excited to get clear on that, like to actually create the tagline that felt like it had the power that I felt inside me, with my inspiration and motivation. Tell me about your vision.
It was, there's a couple. My most massive vision is to help others find business freedom. But the other visions that have come up along the way, my one that most people tackle with me on, everything is Success Champions Networking was to change how the world networks, because we all grew up in this world of really, really crappy networking that felt icky. Nobody wanted to be around. And, you would walk into rooms where everybody tried to pitch and sell you, and the meetings just weren't functional. You didn't get anything out of them. And in creating that vision to create a world where everybody opens doors for others and they're focused on growing other people's, businesses, it has created such a massive movement and a global brand now that I'm blown away by how fast everything is growing and continuing. Some days I feel like I'm just holding on to the reins as it's taken off. But it's proof to both of us, once you get that vision that other people just see and get, they're in, because not only do they want to help you build it, but they want to be a part of that entire movement and brand as it grows.
I could talk about that piece all day long and the aspect of community, but I want to hold on that one. I want to kind of bring it back to the book. You've written a few books. Tell me the story of why this one at this time.
Growing a business, building a business, putting all this together is by far the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. Anybody, and when I launched the business, I was hearing all of these gurus, all these quote unquote influencers talking about, you should start a business, be an entrepreneur, get in the game. And they made it sound so damn easy. And they made it sound like, hey, anybody can do this. And I really thought it was going to be easy to build a business. I had a great local brand, in Fort Worth, Texas. I had 20 years at that point of sales behind me, and I was very successful in what I did. But what I didn't realize in building the business is nobody ever saw me in that regard. And so I had to learn to build and create a business. And man, I screwed up everything. And nobody was out there teaching me how to build a business. Nobody was saying, hey, do this. Everybody was like this Instagram story of, let me show you all the success. Let me show you all the good stuff, not the real behind the scenes. And the more conversations I kept getting in with people, and the more often I was talking to people, they were all struggling. Everybody was trying to get to this business freedom. They were trying to build a business and it just wasn't working. And I'd realized that I hadn't cracked any code or, done anything. I just found things that worked for me. And I knew if I could put those together step by step so people could literally follow it as a roadmap, that I would help them discover the easy and simple things that they need to do to be able to build their own business.
Well, there are a lot of chapters in this book that I could call my favorites. But seriously, just the title of chapter 10, F Your Excuses.
That was so fun to write.
Yeah, like I think we need to write a whole book with that title, like that one title. But there were a few that one is a mindset game. And I love working on my ninja mindset moves, right? But there were a couple of chapters that I thought were absolute keys to my own success. And they were the managing your time like a CEO,
Huge.
the find your champions. I want to talk to you more about that one.
Sure.
And then growth versus scale. That last one was like, it was a little aha moment for me that got me clear about a lot of things. And you guys might assume that, growth versus scale, like, oh, well, Laura's, she's off to scaling. But actually that chapter made me realize I am perfectly happy to stay growing for now. And I don't know, it gave me an aha. So, not everyone wants to or needs to scale, but if you were going to choose the number one key to this game, just one, if you're going to pick one thing, what would you tell everybody first?
Become a CEO.
Okay, tell us more.
I did not realize, and one thing I want to say for sure about the book is a lot of people say they get raw in their books. I actually shared the actual conversations with me and Elizabeth, my wife, about having to tell her, the tough times. So this one was tough to write, especially that chapter.
Well, you had a really good editor.
I did.
Okay, wait, I'm going to pause you on that for a minute. And this is also for my writers community, why I want to say this. I was honored to help you with this book, and I challenged you a little bit at that point because I knew some of the stories, and I know a lot of writers are like, oh crap, do I really want to tell that personal story? Like, do I want to put a little bit of my heart out on my sleeve and let people understand what that was for me? And you and I both know that's a yes, but you got to build some trust with your audience, right?
Well, it was really fascinating. Yes, to answer that question, what was really fascinating about it was when I first wrote it, I knew I was going to put it out there, and I wrote it. You asked me to come back and now put the emotion behind it, because I kind of just wrote through it the first round. But then you also, in subsequent, conversations that are in the book, you were like, hey, there's more to this story. Give us the story behind how this moves. This was a key pivotal part in your company. And those tiny adjustments made such a more massive impact. And I think you're authentically writing when you can feel it as you put it on paper. Like, I teared up trying to write the conversation between me and Elizabeth. I mean, it was the toughest conversation I've ever had. And, when you can get that real, I think the audience feels it more as they're consuming it, reading your story and stuff. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then to answer your other question about becoming a CEO, I didn't realize as I was early on building the business that my 20 years of being an employee working for other people was a mindset. As an employee, you're always kind of told what to do. Somebody's always saying, do this. Even though I was a straight commission sales guy, I thought called my own shots and did my own thing, but there was still quotas, there was still direction and things to do. And as an employee, you just got to get it done. If you don't get it done, you get reprimanded, or worse, you get fired. And when I got out on my own, everything had to shift. The way I thought had to shift and move and start thinking and acting and carrying myself as a CEO. And it's a massive evolution. It's a massive upgrade to start acting, thinking, and being a CEO. And I think most people stay in this employee mindset for a duration of their business. And that's one of the main reasons it actually never grows, because it's always on them to do everything.
So important. The CEO mindset, for me, the biggest challenge was relationships within the team, as that relates to hiring, firing, roles. And like, was I going to be someone's friend, or was I going to run my frickin' business?
For sure.
And I am a nice person. I like having friends. I like relating with people. I like being friends with my team. But there's this crazy fine line where I was just dancing back and forth going, all right, I was talking to myself like, Laura, what are you going to do here? Are you going to, are you going to try to be friends with them? Or are you going to try to have a really successful business? I don't know. Do you think you can do both, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the next books I have coming up that I've already started working on is the shit my wife said that changed my life.
Nice. Go, Elizabeth.
Yeah. And there was a moment while I was running the business that Elizabeth and I were driving down the road, and we were talking, and I was in a situation where I was faced where I needed to fire somebody. And, I was struggling with it, but at the same time, I was also trying to go bigger on social media and the likes. And she looked at me and she said it in such a cool way. She said, Donnie, sometimes you've got to have an ego in this game. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, you got to have an ego. We need people like you that are willing to go out and do the social media stuff. But we also need people like you that their ego is so strong and they take care of themselves so well that they can go have the tough conversations, that they can go, because if you keep dragging somebody along that's not stepping up their game, you're not helping them out. You need to be stronger in that moment. And by letting them go, hopefully they embrace that as a learning moment and move on. And, she's been in a position her entire life. She's always been in a management leadership role where she's had to hire and fire and all that, but it was a fascinating moment to think about how much ego, and it's not the ego where you're an egotistical asshole. It's about being so much willing to do the hard things that others won't do. So you can still be a nice person, but it's like being a football coach or any coach out there. At the end of the day, you've got to win the game, and you got to make sure your people are in the right roles, performing at their best. And sometimes performing at their best is no longer on your team. And, it takes a certain individual that can lead, inspire, push, drive, and get people to do their best. And, it's not easy, but in this game, nice guys finish. Badasses finish well by doing the right things.
I think that I could use a parallel to parenting, and we could talk about taking care of kids or animals for that matter, because like when you have the responsibility for a life, and my business is kind of like my baby.
Yep.
Then you do what needs to be done to make sure that survives, thrives, right? You do everything, including all of the hard stuff, including the tough love. And, tough love turned on a business is kind of an interesting topic. Maybe we should write a book about that one too.
For sure. And I think the best CEOs in the game are the ones willing to do all the hard things. You know, the going bigger, being the face of the company, firing, hiring, having the tough conversations internally, externally, and being okay when the haters show up and continuing to press forward. Most people, I believe, are trying to make friends, not build a business. They're trying to pay their bills, not grow a company. They're trying to build this lifestyle without actually doing the work. And I think that's what separates most people who actually grow, then ultimately scale their business, is they are doing the things that forces them to evolve and grow personally. Because I can guarantee you, like me, I mean, I met myself along this journey of building this business because, you know, it's part of the chapter fuck excuses is, you know, when you realize there's no one left to blame, and I'm not saying, you know, you're at fault when I say this, but no one left to blame but you run out of excuses. So success becomes your fault. Failure becomes your fault. And I'm not saying it's you're at fault. I'm saying you're to take ownership of that moment. And that's an evolution that a lot of people aren't fully willing to allow themselves to go through, because you got to get punched in the face over and over again and go, all right, let's go another round.
Oh my God, there are so many nuggets in these last few sentences that you said. We might have to rewind to, are you just trying to pay the bills? Or are you growing a business? I want to back up to when the haters show up for a minute and circle back to find your champions, because this will affect everything that you're talking about. Tell me a little bit more about why the community has been so important for you.
You know, in this day and age, everybody wants to be a part of something. And it took me a little while to understand that one of the, I wish I could say I set out to do this, but I stumbled into this. But one of the greatest things I ever did was start a Facebook group. And in creating that group, I created a community of like-minded people that were focused and targeted on building their businesses. And when people can find a community that wants to build and grow themselves or connect on similar ideals about a certain topic, they want to be a part of it. And building the Success Champions community as a whole has been ultimately what's built all three companies and everything that I've built. And it community is everything in this day and age. And I think if people would collectively think about, how do I bring my people together? And the people, by my people, it's the people that are geeking out on a particular topic you want to geek out on together and potentially build a business around. And when you can bring these people together that want to love, support, help you, build you up, share your message, you're going to be blown away by how awesome and amazingly they step up to help you do the thing you want. And it also pushes you to go bigger because you want to go bigger for them. And it's a cool dual-edged sword by building an amazing community.
There's so much here, right? I wrote something down about this. It was like, the one thing I know for sure is that an old belief that I used to have of you're only successful if you do it all by yourself is so false.
For
And
sure.
so many of us grew up in that mindset. I'm not exactly sure how we got there, thinking that
It's the employee.
only way. Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
employee.
Yeah, the employee
100%.
mindset versus the CEO mindset, right? And
Yep.
so the minute I realized that it's the community that helps you create something bigger, everything changed for me. So firstly, thank you for the Success Champion community that you've built. I love hanging with other badasses, right? What else do you want to say about that?
You know, the fun thing the communities almost build themselves. You just need to create a place where people can geek out
Yes.
together.
Oh, we just talked about this in an interview with Camille Miller, who you introduced me to.
Yep.
And she's launching a book called Creating Your Soul Aligned Business. And what I said back to her was like, you know what? Once that's aligned, it's like that they magnetize to you.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. I know you love talking about all the woo stuff. So what did soul aligned mean for you, Donnie?
So for me, I'll relate it back to the reason I started the group as a whole was I didn't have entrepreneurs in my life. I didn't have people who were building businesses. I didn't have people that were trying to really impact and change their own personal lives. Everybody I was surrounded with was content. And I don't mean that in a bad way, right? They were happy with where their life was, and I wasn't. And what's funny is Ed Milet just came out with a book called the One Thing, which is a very fascinating. I have not read it, but I listened to an interview of his, and one of the statements he says: in every family that has ever seen wealth, one person decided to become that person. And I thought, well, shit, I'm that one person. And I didn't realize it when I started building the community, but I was looking to surround myself with the other ones, those one people that wanted to impact and change their life, because I had assumptions that they would get this craziness. When the world around them is telling them, hey, go back and get a job. Why put yourself through this? Why work so hard? Why do all these things? I wanted the people around me that were like, fuck yes, let's go. Let's do this. Let's continue to go big. I didn't want people around that were jealous of my success. I wanted people that were going to push me. And I was trying to create that environment. And what I found is when you become that person that is impacting and changing your life and sharing the message with others, and the communities come. So to bring it back to soul aligned is when you truly know what you want and you truly know what you want to create, and your people come to the table and they want to hang out because that's what they're trying to do as well.
For those business owners listening who are like, yeah, okay, and they get it, and it's still not happening.
It's because they don't know what they want.
Okay, I like that you said that, because I think the clarity is the big deal. So
Agreed.
What's the first thing they need to do to get the clarity, do you think?
Go fuck up. I think
Yeah.
Yep. It's because they haven't tried enough things and they're playing very, very safe. They're mouthing the words, I want X, but they're not actually doing the things to figure it out. I never wanted to start networking groups. That wasn't the thing my business was supposed to be. And what I found as I continued to try, I mean, at one point we were running 6 companies, and it was because I was trying to find my thing. And in doing all these different things and having all this stuff going, it allowed me to get to a point where it was too much. Things were starting to break, fall apart, and I had to go, okay, which direction do we go? Because everything was making money, right? But we just couldn't handle it and figure it out. And then we had to dial it in. And once we kept dialing it in, all of a sudden we hit the networking groups through some fun happenstances that I put in a book. I tell a story. And, all of a sudden it was like everything aligned. Everything from my past came straight through and was like, here, this is why you did all this stuff back here. It's because of here. And I think most people, and if you're sitting there listening to me and you're frustrated, you're like, I'm trying all the things and it's not working. You're not trying hard. I mean, I don't want to accuse you of not trying hard enough, because I'm sure you're trying. You're just not breaking enough new stuff. You're not trying new things and being okay knowing it's going to break by trying it. Like, sell something else, add something else into the mix and go sell it and see if that's the thing that works. And I think that's where most people screw it up, is they're not proactively trying to sell. They're staying back in some sort of creation mode, hoping the world's just going to come to them and show up, and all of a sudden they're healing the world or whatever. You got to go sell it, because if nobody will buy it, you will never have it as a business. It'll be a wishful thought.
I'll repeat that. If you're stuck in creation mode and you're not putting the things into action, trying them out and messing them up and failing and figuring out the next idea, the idea, you know, my healers too, I'm speaking to all of you, y'all get ideas all day long. You get like 1,000 ideas, but the problem is you're not putting any of them into action as your strategy.
And the action is go sell it.
Yeah.
Go. And I can't emphasize that enough, that the proof in your ability to do what you want to do, and if building a business is your goal and that's what you want to create, and that business will help you heal the world, change your world, then you got to go sell it. Because nothing works until it's sold to somebody else. And selling is not an evil thing. It's not a gross thing. It's just a natural conversation. And when you can actually sell it, you will truly learn your craft like you wouldn't believe, because then all the challenges delivering come to the table, and you're actually working with people that are invested in what you do. And that makes all the difference.
I want to add too, because I know a lot of people have heard me say this, selling and then growing my business and selling more has allowed me to get to a point in my business where I can make one of my dreams come true. And that is to start to give back and serve from this overflow. Like, I wanted a company that was making enough money so that it could start to give back in lots of different ways. That has just been awesome. So yeah.
I agree. You know, one of the fascinating things it allowed us to do is to open up a nonprofit seat in every one of our chapters. You know, we were at a place in business where we were looking for opportunities to give back. And now we, you know, sponsor a couple of different charitable events, but as a company, we were like, you know what? We can absolutely give a seat to any nonprofit in every one of our chapters. And that was a cool moment in our company, that we had grown to a place where that absolutely made business sense. And, you know, we were doing right by the communities. And, you know, it's those type of things.
Hearing that announcement, you and I were running alongside each other almost in the same week of us announcing that every book project will give back to a nonprofit.
That's
like
so awesome.
I saw your announcement, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. But that's the magic of the community and the business growth and the selling. Okay, so speaking of selling, I want you to hear all about all the awesome stuff you have going on and coming up with Success Champions. Sell me everything, Donnie. Tell it to me.
Well, first, I mean, talking just sales, this newest book has outsold every book that I've ever put in the marketplace.
Why do you think?
One, I think because I truly poured my heart and soul into it. And two, I've got so many champions that have been supporting me and cheering me on along the way. I mean, people have gotten real value out of it. And I mean, we've sold over $2,000 of 99-cent books, you know, in a week, which is crazy to me. And the feedback and the reviews from people that I have no idea who the heck they are is just awesome. And so I'm really, really stoked and proud of that. I'm
putting the link down below for you guys. Don't worry.
Thanks for that. I mean, everything that we're selling. So the biggest thing is Success Champions networking. We have the networking groups where we change how the world networks, 55 chapters across the US, 3 chapters in Canada, opening up in Belfast, Ireland, London, Spain, and potentially India. It's the fastest growing networking organization on the planet. We have Champions Table Masterminds, where we bring a bunch of badasses together and actually teach them step by step how to build, grow, and then ultimately get to scale their business. It's a bi-monthly meetings with that. And then coming up September 22nd through the 24th, me and you, Badass Business Summit in Fort Worth, Texas. Guys, this is the best business event of your life. And I mean, last year, the number of people that came up to me and said, this is the best business conference I've ever attended was just absolutely amazing. 3 days, 17 amazing speakers, all focused on helping you build your business from mindset to sales to writing your book and how it can make you successful. Laura's teaching that workshop, and to culture, to investing in yourself, investing in life. It's insane. I mean, the lineup for this event is absolutely amazing. And I'm stoked for this year's Badass Business Summit and everything we're pouring into it.
Me too. I can't wait. So what made it the best business conference ever for me was just that we had a lot of fun while we were working hard.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of fun, which makes it not feel like work, to network and get to know people who are just really fun people to be around. They're good, authentic people, all trying to build their visions and their businesses. And while everyone is very interested in their own business growth, we are all very genuinely interested in other people's success. And you can feel that energy in the room during the breakouts that you have us do, the roundtable discussions, anytime that you had us working in groups and just getting to know each other. Because when a person who was a stranger now feels like a family member, you want them to succeed. I have never been to a conference or a networking meeting, for that matter, that made me feel at home, welcomed, and really like that people were interested in my success and wanted to help me get there.
For sure. And this year, we're adding a lot more workshops, because what we found is even the speakers on the stage weren't talking at the crowd. They were walking them through exercises and taking tangible things. So we even upped the game. So this isn't a conference or a summit where you're going to take pages of notes and come home and then forget why you took that note and then not implement the things. You're going to implement things right then and there. I mean, the tactics and strategies and things that are going to be rolled out, they're going to be allowing you to start at the conference, not after it, and work.
This is
on
so
your
key. This is so key, because it's like you get to co-work with people right there. You get to like do stuff, make connections. It's happening now. You don't have to get home and then like be in a totally chaotic mess with what you're supposed to do first. You're actually doing it. I love that. I'm a practical gal. I like practical exercises.
Yeah, same, because I've been to so many conferences and summits and whatnot over the years that you take all these notes and then you got this book of stuff that even on the plane home, you're trying to decipher and figure it all out. And eventually it becomes a stack over to the side that you don't implement. That's why we're so focused on implement now while at the conference, not after.
Yeah, I hope you guys come. Come have fun. Come grab me and we'll have a drink and a laugh. And I hope you guys really just put this on your list and make it happen, because your business will be different when you get back, for sure. In a good way.
For sure.
Anything else you want to not forget to mention in terms of the stuff you have going on?
The other thing, the only thing left is then the Growth Mode podcast. So we're really stoked with that podcast. My first podcast is still a amazing show and it's still carrying on, but Growth Mode is outperforming it as well. We're now at top 213 countries. And it continues to grow. So if you're just looking for ways to, build your business with a weekly show where Kevin Snow and I sit down and talk all things business, sales, growth, scaling, mindset, and the likes, it's another great place to listen to us go. But, as we wrap this up, the biggest thing I can tell you is you didn't get into building a business to create a shitty job for yourself. You got into this to find some sort of freedom, and you're going to have to evolve. You're going to have to move and become the person that can actually build to freedom. And I put it in the book, that I don't care what role you think you are, you're a salesperson first and you do everything else secondary. And once you wrap your head around the idea of, if I go sell, then I can give back, I can build, I can create, I can heal, I can do all the things as long as I build and actually get to business freedom. And I hope you go check out the book. I'd love to get your feedback from it. Feel free to send me a message, tell me your takeaways, and leave a review out there. It means absolutely everything to me. So go build the business freedom and really enjoy the ride.
Donnie, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone.
My honor. And guys, do Laura a favor. If you watch this, the replay or everything, do her a favor and share this out with one person that could get some tips, tricks, value, knowledge. Running a show, putting all this type of stuff together, it's a lot of work. And it's literally like you gave her a virtual hug if you share this out to somebody else. So
I like
appreciate
that
you.
idea. I'll take a hug. Fuck to Focused, you guys. Amazon link is down below in the show notes. Taking your business from growth mode to ultimate scale. Go have a listen to the Growth Mode podcast. I'm going to say the same thing back for Donnie. Leave a review for somebody's show. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. Give a episode a listen. Contact him and tell him what you loved about the book. Leave your Amazon review. As a publisher, I'm going to back that up 100%. That couple of minutes you take to just leave your honest review, it really means a lot to all of us. So Absolutely. Do it. Brave healers, make sure to check out Donnie's links below. Get involved, buy the book, start getting more focused on your big vision. It is going to make a difference. And lastly, today, you guys remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So visit us at bravehealer.com to learn about all the ways you can share your words with the world in a bigger way. And we'll see you next time, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you, Donnie.